Cool.
Oh.
They cut this out anyways.
Sports with Balls. Here are your hosts, Jeff Michael and Lauren Lee.
Yeah. Lauren,
Welcome in.
welcome into Sports with Balls.
SWB is how I like to say it. SWB here on a Monday night in a freezing cold studio because we don't have AC or heater, but Jeff did bring a little heater under our feet.
Yeah.
It's feeling pretty good. I'm not going to
bad.
lie. I like it. Thank you so much for thinking about
Got
that.
to keep your legs warm.
Because here in H-Town where we're located, it's pretty cold for us. 50 degrees. We're Texans. We don't know how to deal with it. Let's be real.
Julie, what's up, Julie? Watching. Thank all of y'all for paying attention and joining in on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook Live, man. Thank you guys. I've been waiting for this show for 2 days because Saturday's games and then, of course, yesterday, I don't even know what to think. The NFL is making a lot of money right now.
And the NFL is doing it right. And I just think about football as a whole, and football has completely taken over America.
Oh, God.
I
And
mean, baseball's
why not?
locked out right now, right? And
Well,
then
there's news on that. By the way, they met today. They almost came to an agreement.
They did meet today.
And they will be meeting tomorrow again. So we could have an agreement with the MLB and the MLBPA tomorrow, which would be fantastic.
Would love that. Yeah. Would love that. But still waiting on that agreement. And then, of course, basketball is kind of iffy right now. I think college hoops are more of the talk over NBA, to be honest. But football, man, you got all eyes watching the championship, the national championship for NCAA. And then you got, of course, the playoffs right now where everybody wants to watch every single second, just like last night's game, where you wanted to pull your hair out if you're a Bills fan.
I have friends of mine that don't watch football, and their girlfriends and some guy friends that don't watch football. Our producer, Jason, massive soccer guy, right? Barely watches football. I said he's on. Guess what? He tuned in last night.
You tuned in, Jason? Good for you.
Because it
was an exciting game to watch.
Golly, it was unreal. Look, all the games were unbelievable. You've heard all the stuff already. We're going to break them down for you. But 4 games decided, all 4 of them in the last second, on the last play.
I know. It's crazy. Almost every away team won except for the Chiefs this weekend.
It was phenomenal. It was unbelievable football. I had people messaging me all Saturday, all Sunday, gamblers, just football fans, just in general. It was exciting. I mean, it was really, really exciting. I haven't got up and screamed at my television in a very long time. And that Bills and Chiefs game last night, I was screaming at my television. My dog was barking because I was screaming so loud. I was like, no way. It was unreal.
Well, think about this. Where we're our other location that we film at in Christian's Tailgate.
Oh, yeah,
I was
Bills.
wondering how that was going because it's a Bills Mafia bar. So
I bet it was unbelievable for a while.
I bet it was crazy.
And then it wasn't.
I know.
Sorry, Bills Mafia.
I have so much sympathy for Josh Allen and just like giving it his all.
Yeah.
You just see his face there, just so helpless,
Yep.
sitting. It's like that's the most deflating and defeating feeling whenever you're like, you can't do anything. You're literally just watching. You can't do anything.
It was unreal. And so sitting down watching these games, I could only sit there and think of how Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are out of the playoffs. It's like a changing of the guard, especially in the quarterback position and especially in the NFL right now with these young quarterbacks. I just kept thinking, wow, A-Rod's gone. Tom Brady's gone, and you've got Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow. We're not putting Jimmy G in any sort of category like that. But
no, I literally tweeted that this morning. I was like, well, happy Monday. Brady and Rodgers are out of the playoffs in 1 weekend alone. You know what? Heading into the championship game this coming week, nor Brady or Rodgers have missed in 12 years. One of them has at least been in that championship game. That is just nuts to think about. And that's something I want to talk about on today's show as well here, SWB. Like I said, I tweeted it out. Feel free to go follow me, Lauren _Leal. And then, of course, Sports with Ball on Twitter.
Yeah.
But,
Somebody had Sports with Balls on Twitter. That pissed me off. But it's all right. It's fine, man.
It is what it is. Kevin Anthony says, I got in trouble for yelling at the TV because the dogs
me too.
kept barking.
mean, I didn't have anybody there, but I was by myself. But like, I mean, my dog was like, he was laying down, and I just start
Who were
screaming.
you?
And
So
like,
you were going for the Bills last night?
No, I was just going for a great game, and
it was.
and obviously,
Applaud
I mean,
that.
Oh my goodness! Like you know, some people calling it the greatest football game ever. By far, I think definitely the greatest weekend in football, in NFL football, especially championship games ever. Like there's so many storylines, so many things that could have gone one way, the other way. The coaching, just I mean, absolutely everything. How many seconds did Dak have on the clock? 14. How many seconds did Pat Mahomes have on the clock? 13.
Well, 13.
and
Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that went on. It was unbelievable. Let's get going. I'm ready.
No, it was a lot of fun. So breaking down that game, but all of the game, what I want to get into are some of our topics today. Weekend of champs or weekend of luck. And I mean luck by Jimmy G. And I'll get into that in a minute. Overtime rules, are they fair? Are they should this happen? And then, of course, quarterback legacy. So let's get it going here in the rundown. We'll break down that first game, getting into the Bengals versus the Titans, 1916 Cincinnati. So Joe Burrow gets, they get their first ever playoff win in general. He does, but the team does since 1988. That's exciting.
When you first saw this game, you were like, wow.
The first conference championship.
This was the early game on Saturday, and you were like, man, this is great. Well, in a sense, it was great because it was a last second field goal that won the game. But this was an ugly football game on both sides of the football. Ryan Tannehill was horrendous.
Starting out with throwing an interception. Are you kidding
First play.
me?
Yeah, first play of the game. It didn't get much better.
And the last play of the game is what gave it away as well.
Yep.
He had 3 interceptions, and so the first and third were huge effects of the outcome of the game. But go ahead if you wanted to continue that thought.
Well, Ryan Tannehill in this game, to the Bengals' credit, this is what the Bengals really wanted to do. They were trying to force him to make throws, and Ryan Tannehill is notorious for forcing the ball in. If A.J. Brown wouldn't have caught that ball one-handed in the end zone, his stats would be unbelievably bad. He'd have under 200 yards passing, and he'd have maybe 4 interceptions. But the Bengals did a great job on defense as far as forcing him to make throws in really, really tight windows. Mm-hmm. And he tried, and they popped the ball up 3 times, and guess what?
Yep, that's what happens.
3 interceptions.
And the big thing about this was, the threat is Derrick Henry. He's coming back. He finished with 62 yards on 20 carries. Okay,
yeah.
Not as explosive as people thought he was going to be. He played 30 snaps, and I kind of had a feeling this was going to be it. He's been rusty. He hasn't played since week 8. And that's whenever he averaged 117.1 yards in those 8 games in the regular season. So yesterday or Saturday, was it Saturday? Saturday, yes. What was not a good implication of who he is. Thank you so much for turning me up. Appreciate that. But
yeah, now you can hear.
So the Bengals capitalize on that 3rd interception. And that's what caused them to win the game, right?
Of course.
So Burrow finished 28 of 37 for 348 yards. He did have an interception, but did Tannehill's mistakes cost Tennessee to lose the game, or were the Bengals a true threat, and are they going to be a true threat in the playoffs?
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill lost the game for them 100%, without a doubt. The Bengals actually didn't put on a great performance. They really didn't. Their defense did. Offensive-wise, which you were expecting a lot better, they didn't do well at all. Tannehill look, he threw an interception with 2 minutes and 23 seconds left to go in the game, and they had the ball. Driving. All you got to do, run some clock, kick a field goal, you win the game. Nope, he tried to force it in. On a play, he never should have thrown that football, ever. I have to give the Bengals credit for their defense for forcing him to throw it in there. Tannehill was 100% the reason. I don't think the Bengals won this game. I think the Titans lost it. They were number 1 seed. They were at home. It was a close game throughout, and it was, semi-boring compared to all the other games, obviously. But I think that Tannehill just lost his game for them. They had it under control. They had the ball with less than 3 minutes, drive down the field, kick a field goal, and get out of there with a win.
Woo, if you think that the Tennessee Titans just lost that game, I don't know what you got to say about the Bengals heading into Arrowhead. They will be facing the Chiefs for the conference championship. Oh, my goodness. So what do they need to improve upon then? You see Joe Burrow, doing amazing things as far as his arm goes. You have Jamar Chase. He had 5 receptions for 109 yards. Joe Mixon, 14 carries for 54 yards is okay. And was the only touchdown on a 16-yard run, talking about Mixon. So what do you change up here if you're the Bengals heading into the Chiefs game?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call them the hottest team in the NFL, right? They're not.
I think they're good.
Yeah, I think they're good. The Chiefs, if you watched the game last night and then you see that the opening line started at 7, I mean, people are jumping all over this line right now. Like, all over it. Kansas City -7, I'm taking that all day right now. Just because it looks like Kansas City can really do some things right now, and their defense actually looks pretty good. And the Bengals barely beat the Titans. Like, I mean, last-second field goal. And by the way, this kicker McPherson, drafted in the 4th round out of Florida, this kid has got a future. He might end up becoming like the highest-paid kicker ever in NFL history. He's got some confidence. Told Joe Burrow we're going to the championship game before he kicked the field goal. This guy's gangster. I really, really like this kid McPherson.
I know. And you know who wasn't gangster? The field goal kicker last night. Miss. He needs to be let go of the Chiefs.
Well, he ended up winning the game. Well, no, I mean, like, put him into overtime. So, but we'll get into that game. I mean, that's what a football game.
Any more comments on this Bengals Titans game?
And it's funny because the Bengals beat the Titans. All right, the Bengals are moving on. And you're like, this is exciting. And then you got the other 3 games.
I know, right? It just kicked it off.
Yeah, you're
kicked it off for us.
Okay, it can't be much better than this. Oh, it got better by game.
So, would you call this a champ or a luck as far as the Bengals go?
I would be in the middle of that because, like I said,
there's talent out there.
Cincinnati's defense played perfect against Tannehill. They did. They knew what they were doing. They were going to make Ryan Tannehill beat them, which was smart. And they threw an interception with 2 minutes. They threw an interception with 20 seconds left to go in the 4th quarter. Like, that's unbelievable. How do you do that? And then they turn around. The Bengals get a play down the field for 10 yards and sets up a winning field goal. And they knew what they were doing. And so a little bit of luck, but also a lot of skill in the Bengals defense.
All right, so defense stays the same, but need to pick it up a little bit on offense.
100%. You're going into Arrowhead. You would have to score
which I know someone that was there
30 to 35 points to try to keep up with Kansas City and Arrowhead. That's what I would think.
All right, let's move on to another crazy game. And Jeff loves talking about, what is it called? The weather. The weather. That is what I blame everything that happened in this game. The 49ers versus the Packers, 13-10. San Francisco, they will be moving on to face the Rams. And I did not see this coming at all. I was like, the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, they are going to be in the Super Bowl this year. They will possibly win the Super Bowl this year. Like, no doubt about it. In my mind, Green Bay is there.
100%. I told everybody there's no way San Francisco holds a candle to the Green Bay Packers. And, in fact, on the opening drive, that's what it looked like.
In Green
Lambeau.
Bay.
In Lambeau. I mean, the Packers were 13-3. It's an incredible football team. I don't understand how they
it's
they let
unanswered points.
Aaron Rodgers. Okay, so they go down the field in the opening drive and score a touchdown. Looks great. Okay, here we go. That was the only touchdown they scored the entire game. The opening drive touchdown. That's it. Aaron Rodgers looked Aaron Rodgers-ish. He, like, on the sideline, he just looked kind of like, I don't really feel like doing this game. It was awkward. I wanted to see energy. I wanted to see him pump his hands, throw a bomb, a touchdown. Man, he was checking these. So it looked like he was forcing the issue to Devontae Adams way too much. So are you feeling this was more of a cultural, personal issue? I don't know. He looked really disinterested. And for that to maybe be his last game in Lambeau Field, that was pathetic. Yeah. Like, really was. So as far as the 49ers go on the other side of the ball, this is their 17th conference championship game for the 49ers to be in. They will be, and that's tied with the Steelers with the most since this 1970 merger. But getting back to Aaron Rodgers,
his future. What goes on from here? Because whenever I see this, okay, that with all beginning at the beginning of last offseason, which is almost the same time of year, right? So for a year, he's been in the news each and every week, if not month, or every couple of weeks, rather. I think we lost a light up there, but in every couple of weeks, rather, he's come out with something, wanting to be in charge of player personnel issues.
The breaker. That could be a breaker because we lost power on the light on this. The light. Oh well. Hopefully we can get that fixed in a minute.
But we still got our audio.
Yeah, sorry.
We
guys.
still got our audio.
Look, it looked like Aaron Rodgers before he started the game. Like he was super conservative, right? It looked like he was trying not to lose this game instead of like trying to win the game. And that was frustrating for me to watch.
Yeah, I mean, whenever so bad how bad he wants it or has wanted it all year long, and how bad a fan base has wanted it for him.
Yeah, they were the best team in the NFL. And then going into this game, I thought this was almost a lock for them to beat Jimmy Garoppolo, who is terrible. There's a quarterback yesterday that threw over 400 yards, had over 80 rushing yards, had 5 touchdowns, and lost.
Josh Allen.
And Jimmy Garoppolo had 1 interception and 131 passing yards and won.
He was 11 of 19. Yeah.
That
no
is
touchdowns.
Crazy. Like, think about that. Like, that is unbelievable.
Because he hands off the ball or does little dink passes. That's what he is known for. I've never been a Jimmy G fan because he's not he doesn't have all of the other. It's just his system of handing it off.
Yeah.
And Kyle Shanahan has played to that. Very smart, very well. But I really think the weather was a big, big issue in that game yesterday. I don't think anybody should play in that weather. That's just not.
I think the breaker trip. I mean, I know it did. I think it's the cable.
Well, as far as Aaron Rodgers, let's stick with him for a little bit because he was asked, just as Tom Brady, is this going to be your last year? Are you going to retire? Are you going to move to another season? Or are you going to move to another organization? Yada, yada, yada. And he's like, I don't know. I just don't want to be part of a rebuild.
No.
Talking about the new guys that will be coming into Green Bay because they're going to have a completely different roster next year. And he doesn't want to be part of a new rebuild. So I think it goes one of two ways. You either see him leave to a star-studded cast, start to set a team around him, and try to get that Super Bowl next year, or he stops.
Yeah. Aaron,
what do you think?
I mean, I don't think he wants to go anywhere. Well, I don't think he wants to retire. He still has that passion to play, I believe, even though I just said it didn't even show. I wanted a little bit more enthusiasm out of him. They lost to a team that didn't score an offensive touchdown.
I know.
What were the Green Bay Packers doing? I can't, for the life of me, I've watched this game twice, and I'm like, what play calling is this? I was so confused and lost on the Packers. That game was, and we said there was going to be an upset this weekend. And one of these games was going to be a huge upset, and this one had the potential to be the biggest one, and it happened. And now you've got Aaron Rodgers Devontae Adams, we don't know if he's going to come back. You don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. The Green Bay Packers have really, really, really big issues. They are $44 million over the cap.
Well, I was going to say, when you talk about the coach speak and everything like that, Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur did have a conversation today. It wasn't made public of what was said, so who knows what's going to happen. But as far as Aaron Rodgers' future, do you see him in Green Bay?
Well, they'll have to extend him or trade him because of what I just said, because they are.
What do you think?
Oh, man. If I was Aaron Rodgers, I would stay. But that being said, there is a lot of opportunities for him to go. Denver is really intriguing. Really intriguing. But on the flip side of this, do we see what's going on in the AFC? With all these young quarterbacks. Do you want to go to the AFC and fight against these kids? I highly, highly doubt that. If Aaron Rodgers was smart, he would stay in Green Bay, stay in the NFC, and, they're guaranteed to make the playoffs again next year. Just come back with a better team and maybe a better attitude, Aaron. That was terrible.
Here's what I see is if you are like Tom Brady, we're talking about two of the greatest football players of all time and quarterbacks. If you are like Tom Brady and you want to leave the Patriots to go be a GM in Tampa Bay and also obviously be at the helm of it all, Aaron Rodgers can't do that. He has never played, or he hasn't played with other guys that he can take with him elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you have Antonio Brown, which was a bust at the end of the season for Tom Brady to bring with him. You have Rob Gronkowski that he brought with him. He was going to bring Edelman, but that didn't happen. So you think about, okay, if Aaron Rodgers did leave and he wanted to make sure he had a great guy with him, Adams, would that even be possible? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Broncos are aiming, like right now, the Denver Broncos are aiming directly for Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, apparently. And look, this makes for great radio and great television for you and I because of all the things that are about to transpire over the next 3 weeks. You got coaching hires coming up. You've got quarterbacks that either are going to retire or stay. You've got the Super Bowl coming up. Like, this is a really, really interesting time for the NFL.
Right. No, I agree. Definitely. The coaching shirts is one of them. And here's what I'm going to say about last thing I will say about Aaron Rodgers. I know Dak Prescott has 3 years left on his contract, but I think that would be great to go in there and be in that system with all of that talent.
Yeah, but there's no way that he ain't going to Dallas. Now, look, there's a man that's been in the news, Sean Payton from New Orleans. They can't get in contact with him right now. And I told y'all last year that he had a chance to go over to the Cowboys. Don't be shocked if they try to work something out. And speaking of the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy, like this guy had Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott and the most amazing talent around him, and he has one Super Bowl to show for it and a ton of playoff losses. Mike McCarthy may be like the bad apple.
So last week we talked about this with Grant was on the show about, when Dallas lost in the playoffs. And we went and we dove deep into that. You look at also the offensive coordinator.
Yep.
And Kellen Moore. I kept wanting to say Mon.
Yeah.
And Kellen Moore. And so obviously it's not like it's McCarthy making those play calls. It's Moore. However, he makes the big ones.
He signs off on him though. Like, I mean, so that it goes through
with
his
the
head.
last
It goes
trying
through
to spike
McCarthy's
the ball,
headset. Yeah.
all that
Look
mess.
what happened. They had 14 seconds and couldn't pull that off. And then Pat Mahomes had
First off,
had 13.
it's hard to pull it off in general. Pat Mahomes is just different. Josh Allen is just different.
So here's my question now, because you never want to give the ball back to, and we're going to get in the games, obviously. You never want to give the ball back, and Tom Brady started all this, like, don't give Brady time. But that was back in, like, don't give him a minute and a half, or don't give him a minute. And now it's like, don't give him 13 seconds? Wait a minute. Like, what are you talking about? So now you literally have to run out the clock. If you give these guys 13 seconds, they will win the game. It's insane.
I mean, not the exact breakdown, but basically you have under 2 minutes left. You got Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes on the field. And then, of course, going into overtime. It was just madness. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And I was thinking whenever the Chiefs scored that, I'm like, ooh, there's still like 1:30 left on the clock. That's a lot of time for the Bills. And I was going for the Bills. I was down south watching it with my family last night. And my brother was like, no, I want the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes all the way. Like, blah, blah, blah. So he was super excited about it. You said you weren't cheering either way. Was Cole?
I was screaming for just every touchdown. It was fun. Like, look,
there were 9 touchdowns.
Even that San Francisco game. So we broke down Cincinnati and Tennessee for a minute, and then we just went over San Francisco and Green Bay for a second. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers, right? So you watch that second game on Saturday, and you're like, oh my, Aaron Rodgers is out. Aaron Rodgers is out, and you're like, what's going to happen? Then Sunday morning comes, and you're like, all right, there's 2 more football games. We got St. Louis, LA and Tampa Bay, and then Buffalo and Kansas City. You're like, no way, like there's going to be any upsets or anything like that. Oh, wow.
Time to reset. And you know what? The first game with the Rams and the Bucks.
Holy crap.
So here's this. I said this before the game, too, that if Tom Brady was going to be knocked out of the playoffs, this might be the game that he does. And you know what? It was at the very end. 30-27 Rams, and that was in Tampa. And a big comeback by Brady.
It was 27-3. And everybody knew what was about to happen. I mean, we all knew it. We know the story of the Super Bowl. Like, it was 28-3. We all knew what was about to happen, and it sure did. And like when it was happening, you're watching and you're like, no way. Like,
but the Rams just let up.
Yeah,
the Rams let it happen. They did it to themselves.
4 turnovers, 4 fumbles from the Rams. Or look, this game.
Did Sean McVay just like get comfortable with the team? Like what happened at the halftime?
Cam Akers didn't play that well. He should have. But listen, this game should have been a blowout, and it was almost going that direction. I mean, it was 27-3. The one more touchdown, and it would have got nasty for Tom Brady. And they just kept turning the ball over. And you couldn't believe they kept doing it. They did a long drive, got down to the 10, fumble the ball. Then it was wild to sit there and watch. But Tom Brady has that little bit of luck. Is like the football gods always bless him with this weird crap, man. And the same thing happened yesterday afternoon. And it was.
You know what it means? You know what that means? We got to get more TikToks of his brother now.
Tom Brady's?
No.
Oh,
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, God. No, please no.
And thank you so much out there for those of you listening to us, downloading the show, commenting on the show. I just read a comment I'm not about to read out loud. It definitely cracked me up while Jeff was talking.
Yeah, the one that Kevin just about the 13 seconds in your girl. That's all over social media.
Yes. Thank you guys, though. Seriously, Sports with Balls, SWB, whatever you want to call it. We will be there on all of your podcast platforms and, of course, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook right here, and so much more.
iVox Plus.
iVox Plus.
Yeah,
we've just been in the press for that.
You want to watch the show live again, or not live again, but to rewind of it, go to iVox Plus, go subscribe, and all of our episodes are sitting on there. Well, at least the last 3 weeks. They just launched, and we are on iVox Plus. So you guys go on iVox Plus and watch our shows. Please give us some likes. It would be much appreciated. But again, Rams end up taking this game after a wild football game. And there's a lot of controversy that goes along with this game. And one of them being how they let Cooper Kupp get wide open for the first play, and then the Hail Mary basically to him that got him down to the 12-yard line to win the game. Wow. I mean, wow. And there was a zero blitz called, which
That's exactly where I was going to go.
Okay, go.
Bruce Arians said, some guys just didn't blitz and they didn't understand the blitz. And so, that's whenever he threw the bomb at the end of the field, and Bruce Arians just said, our guys defensively got to be better. Yeah,
I mean, and Stafford, so that's called a you love the game route. I heard about this today when Cooper Kupp loves it. I mean, it's called a you love the game route because you never get the ball thrown to you. That is just a clear out route to clear out the safeties. They were going for OBJ over the middle. That way they get up, spike the ball, do another play, and try a field goal.
Isn't it funny how OBJ was the post-game not press conference, post-game interview?
OBJ is living the life right now. I mean, he is all over it. He's playing good. He's in L.A. But did you see this about his because if you remember, OBJ took his salary in what? Bitcoin. And have you seen what happened? Yeah, he took his salary from the Rams in Bitcoin. And have you seen what has happened to Bitcoin? It's just bombed. So he got $500 and something thousand. I'm going to try to pull it up here in a minute. And it was unbelievable. I knew
at some point this currency stuff was going to go down.
So November 12th, Odell Beckham Jr. signed a deal with the Rams for $750,000. He announced that he would take that in Bitcoin. At the time, Bitcoin was $64,293. All right. Today, Bitcoin is worth $35,400. All right, almost half of that. Today, that deal, so his deal is now worth $412,953. Odell will be taxed on $750,000 though, right? So because that's California. So that's 50% of that.
Oh my gosh.
So that means that Odell Beckham Jr. as of now has netted $35,700.
Wow.
That's how much his contract is worth from the LA Rams now.
Wow.
He has taken a bomb hit because he's taxed on the $750,000.
That sucks.
And it's dropped. Bitcoin slashed in half since then. But he's
it'll
taxed
go
on the
back up, right?
Yeah, I mean, OBJ thinks. But, yeah.
I'm
so
sure
as of
it
right
will.
now, OBJ's making $35. Now, listen, he's got some bonuses or whatever. But I can't imagine signing a $750,000 contract, and it's worth $35,000.
Okay, so getting back to this Rams-Bucks game, do you think that the Bucks couldn't get anything going in the first half due to the lack of talent they had out there, like Tom Brady around him? He was able to come back and, fire away, obviously, tied it up at the very end.
No, I thought the Rams were just a way better team. Like they were. And it showed that through the first half. There was 27-3. And like I said, this game could have got real ugly. And it should have, except for the Rams kept fumbling the football. They had
it did get ugly.
The fumble out of this. I mean, it would have been real bad.
Happy for Stafford?
Stafford, 366, 2 touchdowns, 28 of 38. I am Stafford, way to go. He got 2 playoffs wins in L.A., and he never had any in Detroit. We all know the story about all that. I still am not 100% trusting Matt Stafford. Now, that all being said, he gets to play Jimmy Garoppolo next week. I mean,
the battle of the Californias.
Oh, man.
Which I was just in California.
Jimmy G has 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions and 2 road playoff wins. He has 0 touchdowns and 2 picks, and he beat the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers. That is outrageous. That's unbelievable.
He just skids by once again.
It's Jimmy G.
If you are out there
wow.
listening, can you please give us a reason why Jimmy G is a good quarterback?
Well, I mean, obviously
other than getting the wins.
Their defense is pretty good.
Why he is a good quarterback, not why the team is good.
No, I don't think anybody said that Jimmy G was a good quarterback.
I'm just saying, if there's anybody out there,
that gives us reasons why he is.
Please tell us why you think he's a good quarterback.
Yeah. He has one route that he throws to, and that's Kelsey over the middle, and everybody knows it. It's just, man, dude, this is unbelievable that he beat the Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers, right? He beat the Dallas Cowboys, who, massive Cowboys fans that are out there. They said they were going to the Super Bowl. And hugely talented team. Beat them. He goes to Lambeau, where it's snowing. It's 0 degrees. Aaron Rodgers with 20 touchdowns and 0 picks in his last 8 games. He's on fire, and he beats them. And he has 2 interceptions in these games and no touchdowns.
It's the team. It's not Jimmy G.
Well, I know, Dad. San Francisco
exception.
might be the best team out there.
That is the one exception where you can say a quarterback, when the quarterback's in charge, they're the leader of the team. They're the group of the team. They're the one who, they're why the team is good. And he's the one exception.
It's
not him.
Insane. So, yeah, look, the Tampa Bay Bucks shot themselves in the foot at the end of that game. They let Cooper Kupp get wide open in a you love this game route, which is, like I said, which means you were never supposed to be throwing the ball. It was just a clear out route for OBJ to go out over the middle. But an incredible throw by Stafford under pressure because he was getting rushed, and an incredible catch. And I couldn't believe that they beat the Bucks like that. Now, game's over. We've all seen all the stuff. There's a bunch of why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that play calls? But after the game, as soon as it ended, even right before, I was like, wow, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are not in the playoffs. I was just like, wow, this is crazy. Matt Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen was still in at that point. These are the quarterbacks that are left in the playoffs now, and no Aaron Rodgers and no Tom Brady. But I wasn't that mad. I really wasn't. I was like, these kids are pretty damn good.
That's where we go with the future of quarterbacks, right? In the NFL, we're talking about 2 of the greatest of all time.
Yes,
still
top 5.
playing,
Tom
but
Brady's the
obviously
GOAT.
out, but obviously still played the 2021 season. And do you miss them as much? No, because there's still so many other great quarterbacks out there. And so moving forward, if these guys were to retire tomorrow, this week, just all hypothetical, I think the state of the NFL would still be in good hands.
Oh, the next game we're going to talk about proved that. It really, really did. That is the new Manning and Brady rivalry, the new Elway and Marino rivalry, because the rivalries keep sports alive. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, Michael Jordan versus the entire NBA, or the Detroit Pistons, if you want to put it like that. Rivalries are great for the sport, incredible. And what we saw last night was the beginning of one of the greatest rivalries we're going to start watching for a long, long time. That was unreal.
Before we get into that, we were talking about the Rams and the Bucks game and talking about Tom Brady's future. Already reporters asking, okay, was that it? Was that your last snap? Was that your last throw? Are you going to be done? And it's, he just said, I want to focus on this game right now. Typical answer, of course, but he has different options. It's going to be a new roster once again coming into Tampa Bay next year. He went, as I said earlier, from the Patriots to the Bucks to be a GM and to be over what's happening with the organization and the team itself, keeping vets, letting guys go, who are they going to draft, so on and so forth. But It's going to be a new team, new coordinators. How will this affect Brady wanting to play? Will it be kind of like his farewell tour, like Ben Roethlisberger, even though completely different levels of talent? But will it be like that and be like, oh, this is a good way to send him off? Or is he just going to keep playing, or retire tomorrow?
You got Byron Leftwich, offensive coordinator over there. Now, that being said, Brady runs that offense. Byron Leftwich does have the title of offensive coordinator, but Tom Brady calls the plays. We all found that out last year. He's got full control in that offense, right? The big question here is Ndamukong Suh, Godwin, and Rob Gronkowski. All right, so Godwin, they're going to have to sign him back. He tore his ACL. I don't know if they're going to get him at a discount because of that. But if he doesn't get those 3 players back, I highly doubt he comes back. He said today on his radio show that he's got kids to think about and a wife to think about now. And whenever people talk about that, you're like, uh-oh. Because he's going to get home and he's going to see his kids, and all the players know it's a grueling like task to get back in NFL shape. And you have an incredible offseason. We know Tom goes with his trainers. It takes a long time to get in NFL player shape.
So what if we say something like Tom Brady comes back this 2022 season and he plays 5 games, and then what happens? An Andrew Luck situation. I think I'm going to stop now. That could be a possibility, a random one. But I don't see him doing that. I like the idea of him coming back one last year. He's about to turn 45. And I think it'd be a good way to close it out. Because this year, he wasn't expecting he was expecting the Super Bowl. I mean, every team is, right? But I think that he comes back one year.
Yeah.
It will be a new team, alluding to the guys, like you said, Chris Godwin, obviously Antonio Brown not being there, Rob Gronkowski. How effective is he going to be if he gets contracted again next year? These guys are just getting older and more beat up.
If Brady comes back, I assume Gronk will probably come with him, right? But if they can't sign Ndamukong Suh and they can't get Godwin, I don't think that Brady just got beat by the Rams. And like I said before, that game was out of control, and it almost was an entirely different. It should have been a blowout. If the Rams didn't have fumbleitis, it would have been. So Tom Brady almost would have got embarrassed. Why would he want to come back to a lesser team if they can't sign these guys? Like,
right.
why would he want to do that? So we'll throw this out there. Like, which one would you say stays in the NFL, right? Rodgers or Brady? I would go Rodgers. I think that Rodgers has a little bit more motivation. Tom's been to 10 Super Bowls. He's won 7. He said it today. I've got a wife and kids at home, and I need to talk to them. Whenever they say that, it's like, uh-oh. And he's got, the 3 main players, Gronkowski, Ndamukong Suh, and Chris Godwin, all are up in the air if they're coming back. I think Brady says goodbye, and it sucks because, like I said when we started the conversation about the Bucs, is like that would suck if that's the last time you see Brady. There is no farewell tour. There isn't like a Roethlisberger this year where it's like, oh my gosh, because the game was so intense and it was so crazy. Everybody forgot that might be the last time you see Tom Brady.
No, because you see Tom Brady going all the way. You say, oh, you never bet against Brady. And, I mean, they made a huge comeback like they were going to win over the Rams, but that's not what happened. I think he's addicted to winning. He's addicted to playing. He's addicted to the game of football. I don't think he goes out this way. It's hard for me to see him do a farewell tour with a team that can't. I think he doesn't do his podcast this year, that Let's Go deal, or what is it called, The Last Man or something like that.
He just did it today, and it was and it was quite informative. And look, he led the league in passing this year, so he shows no signs of like really letting up.
It's that protection, man. He's got to stay protected.
If he doesn't have Godwin, I don't know. And look, Leonard Fournette was a godsend for him this year. Leonard Fournette had some sort of weird rebound year. I highly doubt Leonard Fournette will be that productive next year. Jones was supposed to be their starting running back, but he got hurt. I don't know. I mean, it's been a rough year. The Antonio Brown situation with the Bucs and him. I don't know. And did you see Antonio Brown post on Twitter after the game?
I didn't. What did he post?
He posted up what did it say? Like Bucs lose. Yeah, Bucs lose. It was like a meme with him running
Shocker.
through the like with his shirt off. Yeah.
How funny.
Oh man, yeah, trolling the Bucks. But I just there was a lot that went on for Tom Brady this year, and I want him back in the league. It's just, and especially when he saw what those two kids did after that. Wow, you really want to face all that?
Look. We talk about having a new roster, a new team, new guys on the field to throw to, targets, and handing it off. So my thing is, you know what you need to improve. You find the right guys, and you have almost the same team.
Yeah, I mean that would be the only way he
So
comes back.
that would be a simple
40.
fix.
He'll be 45.
It's not easy to find talent, but it would be a simple fix because Tom Brady can throw and make and put it in anybody's hands.
Yeah, I mean we saw that. He had a great pass to Mike Evans yesterday. They did make a comeback, and if that wasn't Brady, I'm not sure if anybody makes that comeback. But 329, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 30 of 54. Tom Brady is the GOAT. Like, he's number one. And Joe Montana's number two. I used to love Joe Montana, but Tom Brady's the GOAT. And I think he does. I want to see him come back because I do want him to do a farewell tour. I would love to see that for Tom. Like, people need to respect him. I don't want him to go out like he did yesterday with really nobody even knowing if that's his last name.
I don't think that's what he would want either in his career. All right, enough Tom Brady talk. Let's move on to the incredible game we were discussing earlier in the show. Woo! Bills versus the Chiefs, 42-36 Kansas City. And I said it earlier, 9 touchdowns were in this game, 18 total points in the final 2 minutes of the game. Just craziness.
4 go-ahead scores in 2 minutes in overtime. 4. I mean, that's never been done. I mean, this game was the greatest football game I think I've ever watched.
Did it come down to the coin toss?
Oh, man. Go to social media on Sports with Balls, and I posted something today about the coin toss and overtime games, stuff like that. Like, you don't want it to have college rules. These are NFL players. There'll be some injuries if they're playing like 2 more quarters. Like, you don't want that. Plus, they have a game the next week. So you can't wear them out. Like, if they have 2 more quarters, those guys will be beat. Like, they'll be done, especially the way these 2 teams were going at it. The overtime rules, I mean, man, that's up for debate. I wasn't too mad. Defense wins championships, right? Look, the Bills have the number 1 defense in the league, scoring-wise. Like, they're the number 1 defense.
Fewest points allowed with 17 per game.
Yeah, so
and fewest yards.
You got the Chiefs offense out there, and you got you got the defense out there. Your defense should have been able to stop them.
I know, and that's really the argument here. It's like everyone's so mad about the overtime rules, in which I do think, to be fair, each team needs the ball in their hands. I just do. But your defense didn't hold up. Needless to say, that's what happened in the end. They didn't get to Patrick Mahomes. They know what Patrick Mahomes can do. His arm, he can extend them. He can extend a play. He can run, use his legs, just like Josh Allen. I feel like almost, Jeff, I was looking at 2 of the same quarterbacks.
Yeah, they were unbelievable. And it's crazy to sit here and think that Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and Mitchell Trubisky all were drafted ahead of Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen. Yeah.
And these guys were so accurate last night.
Sam Darnold and Mitchell Trubisky. Now, I mean, look, I was high on Josh Allen coming out of college. I wasn't real high on Mitchell Trubisky. I thought Sam Darnold was good, and Baker Mayfield went before him. But Baker is yet to be determined on what he does. But Baker, Sam, and Mitchell all being drafted before Josh. And look, Pat Mahomes yes, he was great over at Texas Tech, but they weren't a winning team. And Andy Reid, I guess, and him really, really connected. And now you've got Josh Allen and what's going on over there. That's why would you want to? So think about the quarterbacks that are in the AFC: Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson.
Ryan Tannehill.
I mean, all these young quarterbacks that are studs over there in the AFC. I would not want to go into that division. Like, I mean, that conference is going to be good for a while. Joe Burrow, I mean, good luck over there.
Well, people are commenting here saying about the overtime rules, they need a change for the playoffs, and I can definitely get on board with that. Say in the regular season, it's just whoever has possession goes down and scores, they win it all. But playoffs, you fought all season long to be there. I think you deserve a shot.
Yeah. I mean, look, Josh Allen deserves like honorable mention for after these games. Like you said earlier. when we started the show, you're like Bills fans, and I do. I feel. Can you imagine over some of the places we know where they have Bills Mafia and all these fans, and I mean, all in Buffalo. I bet every bar in Buffalo was going berserk
So when
on
they
two
lose,
of those plays.
or when they win? Okay, is it whenever they lose or whenever they win that you jump on one of these tables and you break them?
I mean, they do that anyways, like just in general. Like they just tailgating. That's part of the initiation to the Bills Mafia. Jump out of a car.
Okay, so regardless if they win or lose, you're breaking
you're
a
doing
table.
it. You're doing that at 9:30 in the morning in the parking lot. So
I kind of want to go and do that. I think it would be fun.
let's set this up. I am ready. One of the things I want to do, bring up Josh Allen, unbelievable game, but Gabriel Davis had the game of the weekend. Even Jerry Rice never had this. 201 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns.
Incredible.
A
playoff game against Patrick Mahomes.
And look, Stefon Diggs had 7 yards receiving. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. It didn't take away from the Buffalo Bills. That is not the reason they lost. I personally think they should have squib kicked it down there and ran off some clock. Now, there's different opinions about all that, but as soon as he kicked the ball into the end zone at the end of the game, I was like, even though there's 13 seconds left, I was like, why did he kick it in the end zone? Squib kick it, make him pick it up, run some more time off. That confused the hell out of me. And then, I was texting with a buddy, Kevin, actually, that comments on the show all the time. And he's like, this game's crazy. And I was like, nah, it's over. 13 seconds. There's no way. Like, how much time? Pat Mahomes can't do anything in 13 seconds. Yeah. He did. He did. He drilled the ball down the field. Tyreek Hill. I was in shock. I was in utter shock.
So you talked about Tyreek Hill, and that's who I was going to bring up. We talked about it all season long with the taunting rules and them being so annoying. Well, he was kind of taunting down there in the end zone.
Yeah.
I got it. It didn't get called.
It should have been called.
But it was fine by me. I think the taunting rules are stupid.
Well, yeah, but that's not up for debate, really. The NFL is cracking down on that, and that was a taunting call. It should have been called, and I'm not sure how they would have handled that. But yeah, he shouldn't have done that. It should have been called. But the refs didn't screw up this game. It was an amazing football game. I told you, even our producer Jay was watching the game like, this is absolutely nuts.
He
Josh
watches
Allen's
the other kind of football.
Josh Allen's quarterback rating was 136. 27-37, 329, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks. Pat Mahomes, 33 of 44, 378, 3 touchdowns. Both of them were the leading rushers on their team.
Wow.
That is insane.
Wow.
Just
keep it in their hands. They're going to do something.
Luckily, we're going to get to see these two guys. We'll hopefully go at it for a few more years. And I started the show off saying you've got 2 quarterbacks that went out yesterday or this weekend, and you were like, wow, like legends, top 5. Brady being the GOAT, Aaron Rodgers, wherever you want to rank him, top 5 for me, maybe 6 or 7 for some people. But those 2 going out of the game, and then you have this game Sunday night where you have Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen's going toe-to-toe like this. It was like a changing of the guard, and it was incredible to watch. Like, these guys do things that the quarterbacks back in the day can't do. Pat Mahomes was leaning sideways, throwing balls underneath the linebackers' arms and making them turn. Like, it was wild. It was crazy to watch. And Josh Allen has a cannon, like an absolute cannon for an arm, and it was I couldn't believe that he threw those 2 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter. I couldn't. I was in shock.
Well, Pat Mahomes, since he came into the league, we're like, whoa, check out that sidearm.
Yeah.
And that's something that you don't see at all. And we're like, you know what? The game of quarterback may be starting to change here. And then we see Lamar Jackson get MVP in his rookie year using his legs. And so the term quarterback is not just for throwing anymore, guys. And we just started to see a change of that. And I think Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes may be the best versatile quarterbacks that are in the league.
Yeah, they're definitely mobile. And
then you have guys like Justin Herbert. You talk about arms.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, Herbert. And all the young quarterbacks that came out are just – and you got Mac Jones. And look, there's a lot of talk about Bill Belichick wanting to trade Mac Jones to get a mobile quarterback. And, man, it's just a wild, wild situation that happened this weekend. You've got – Jimmy Garoppolo made it. He beat the Cowboys, then turns around and beats Green Bay in Green Bay. And you have 2 of the best quarterbacks that are in the game going at it last night. Tom Brady Aaron Rodgers knocked out of the playoffs. I mean, the storylines go on and on and on about this past weekend.
And you're talking about earlier the AFC and how just tough it is to be in the AFC and rise to the top. I mean, in the AFC West alone, you have the Chiefs at the top. You have the Raiders behind them, which got to one game. And then the Chargers.
Derek Carr, Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
I mean, these quarterbacks go down. Joe Burrow. It's unreal, man. Like
that's why I say
Josh
I think
Allen,
the
Pat
states,
Mahomes. I mean, dude, the young quarterbacks that are in the AFC alone are Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson.
Jason, do you know these guys that we're naming right now?
Dude. It's fun. The AFC is a lot of fun. And we're going to see if the NFC can catch up because the NFC was supposed to be a powerhouse. And right now it looks like the AFC is. I mean, and we saw the shift the last, 4 weeks of the regular season because I always said it was the Power Five, right? And they were all in the NFC. And then late in the season, the Chiefs made a hell of a run, and the Buffalo Bills started coming up. And then you're like, whoa, these AFC teams. And then Joe Burrow, the last 2 games of regular season, breaking records. And you're like, uh-oh. And now here we are, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Pat Mahomes, 3 of the 4 teams that are in.
You know what else we have to look forward to? This weekend, we have the 49ers at the Rams, in which this was the last regular season matchup where the Rams did lose to San Francisco and Jimmy G in that game. So it looks like the Rams have to hold their own. I would say I have no doubt about it that Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp can connect and do very well in this game. And, of course, Aaron Donald on the other side of the ball. But I mean, freaking, they just beat the Packers. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Jimmy G.
I will say the weather, though. I mean, that will not get out of my head how bad it was.
Jimmy G.
It was like 0 is what they said it felt like.
He's already been to a Super Bowl. Like Jimmy Garoppolo has something about him where he wins. I don't know what it is. I have no clue, but damn it, the guy wins football games.
You know what it would have been fun, too? Is if the Bucks had won and it would have been Brady versus Garoppolo, in which Garoppolo was Brady's understudy.
Yeah. Well, now Garoppolo made it further than Brady.
Isn't that crazy?
Unbelievable. Right now, you got Bengals and Chiefs at 2 p.m. on Sunday. It opened up at 7 or 7.5. It's gone down to 7 right now. The over-under for this game is 54.5. Wow. Joe Burrow versus Pat Mahomes. We just saw one of the greatest football games of all time, if not the greatest one, Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen. And now you turn around and you've got Pat Mahomes versus Joe Burrow.
I already said last night was the Super Bowl. I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
Last night was the Super Bowl.
We might have 3 or 4 Super Bowls this year. Like, I
don't see this Chiefs-Bengals game being that crazy.
Wow.
And I just had a Southern accent really drop out there.
Don't see the Chiefs and Bengals going at it.
It's going to be fun.
Vegas has it put at 54, and that right there is a lot.
But who's favored and by how much?
It's Kansas City -7.
Okay.
I would jump all over Kansas City.
Exactly.
But
I'd say
the
Chiefs.
The Bengals have that it factor this year. See,
however, they didn't this last weekend.
But we've seen the playoffs be just so weird. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers gone.
I know.
We've seen so many weird things. The Bengals are still in it. This is championship weekend, and the Bengals are there playing the Kansas City Chiefs, which, by the way, the Kansas City Chiefs, first team in NFL history to host 4 straight conference championship games. And if Pat Mahomes wins again this week, 3 straight Super Bowls. That is uncharted territory.
Only winning 1, well, it would have been 2.
Yeah, but
2 out of 3.
Going to 3 straight, that is unreal.
Ooh.
I mean,
can we go to Super Bowl? Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm down.
I
don't know about going to LA though.
As far
Sorry.
Oh, trust me, I was just in California.
And the reason I say
and
this
it's completely shut down.
is the Uber drives. Our buddy Dan Green lives over there now, great comedian over there in LA. He's like, man, during Super Bowl, the Uber rides are like, to go down the street, it's like $150.
I believe it.
Like, I can't imagine the Uber rides in LA. But
everything's more expensive in California. Let's just be real. But then you bring in a huge event like that, the biggest of the year, of course.
So you got Chiefs beating the Bengals by more than 7 on Sunday. These are early guesses, by the way, and we don't condone you guys get out there and start gambling on our picks. Look, this is just what we do, and we pick them. You want soccer picks? We need to talk to our boy over here, man. What was the team that won again? Aston Villa. He told us on Thursday. He's like, take them. Sure enough, they had a highlight on SportsCenter, and he's like, Aston Villa won. I was like, damn it.
Speaking of highlights, did you see the backboard shatter by by one of the high school players in our local area? Yep.
Really?
Shatter the backboard. Boom.
I mean, that'll be a highlight reel. Next game.
It was on
coming up,
SportsCenter.
5:30 p.m. on Fox. 49ers at the Rams. I would have thought this one would have been larger, but it says Rams -3.5. And this is what I'm saying. Vegas is not stupid. Like, they usually get these things pretty right. So why is it Rams only -3.5? It's -3 for them being at home.
Because
so
the 49ers just beat the Packers. That's why.
It's just unreal. Like, and nobody.
If that game was inside of a stadium, inside of a closed stadium, excuse me, the Packers would have owned the 49ers. I'm just saying.
Well, this one's in a closed stadium, and nobody outside the California area wants to see the 49ers in the Super Bowl.
It's such a naive or a take to say it's about the weather, but this is the only game that I've said this about. I think you can attest to that, right, Jeff?
What?
I think this is the only
the
game
weather.
I've said that literally it falls back on the weather.
Definitely.
Now, before we get out of here, you mentioned Sean Payton and possibly not being with the Saints. He went 9-8 for the first time this year. It was his first time to lose the NFC South since 2016. He has been on vacation for over a week now, and he is not getting back to the organization whether or not he's going to return. I say he's going to talk to them, work something out, but you never know.
I've got to. I told y'all this last year. If y'all pay attention to the show, last year I said Sean Payton has a really, really good shot at going to the Dallas Cowboys. Him and Jerry Jones are great friends, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jerry Jones makes a move and gets Sean Payton over there, and that would be a massive upgrade.
Now, what's the current contract of Coach?
I don't know. Well, Peyton's got 3 years on his, but I think there's buyouts and there's all sorts of things they can do, especially with head coaches.
No, for Dallas.
Oh, McCarthy?
Peyton has three years.
I'd have
Sean
to look
Payton has
up,
3 years left on his contract.
I'd have to look up McCarthy's contract. But, we'll see. That would be the coaching carousel is getting very interesting. All these teams have already said it's down to 2 or 3 coaches now. So we probably before the end of the week, before we come back on Thursday with Lauren, we'll have new coaches' places, and then especially by Monday. And Monday's show is going to be a blast.
Well, the Texans said they're keeping their options completely open. They're still looking at DeMeco Ryans, who obviously is the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. Love what they've done there with the 49ers, and that's how they're winning the games. So, I know as far as Texans, they're keeping everything open, but as far as the Saints go, if Peyton doesn't return, it's likely going to be defensive coordinator Dennis Allen who will replace Peyton.
Poor New Orleans. All those incredible seasons with
Jameis Winston didn't work.
So many referees screwed them up. I mean, the Minnesota Vikings call. That franchise, New Orleans, even though they won a Super Bowl with Breeze, they've gotten screwed over a lot.
That's another topic for another day, but should refs be full-time or not?
I don't know.
Anyways, I think that about wraps up our show tonight.
Yeah.
We're going over on time. Thanks so much for joining us here on SWB or
Sports with Balls.
Jeff Michael, Lauren Leal. We love spending Monday nights with you so much
Wednesday.
for joining us, and we will be with you next time. Later. Have a good week.